I chose Lure of the Flies to analyze from a social psychological perspective. It turns out to be a treasure trove of social psychological principles in full action. Lure of the Flies is a chilling tale adapted from William Golding's novel about 30 young boys between 8 and 12 years old, marooned on a deserted island somewhere in the Caribbean as a result of a botched evacuation from England during World War II. The plane crashed and they made it to the island. This groundbreaking 1963 black and white film, directed by Peter Brook, wanted to answer the question, in the absence of any authority, would we deteriorate into ruthlessness, chaos, and confrontation? In other words, would we turn into beasts? Clearly, Brook believes so. I focused on three very relevant but interlocking principles. The first one is leadership. Group leaders set the agenda for the group and influence others to achieve those goals and objectives. Group cohesiveness, on the other hand, is the relative strength of the forces and bonds that link and connect the members to one another as well as the group as a whole. Group cohesiveness could be either strong or weak, or somewhere in between. Groupthink, on the other hand, is the tendency of the group to close ranks around a specific decision due to excessive pressure to conform, a lot of that coming from the leader, while rejecting any contradictory information. And this happens when other certain conditions are also met. And remember, groupthink is always a bad thing. Adding to what we already know about leadership, I believe you must be able to separate the effectiveness of a leader to lead from being a good or a bad leader relative to the long-term welfare of its members and its true goals. For example, Hitler was a very, very effective leader. Influence, therefore, is neither good nor bad. It can be used for good or for selfish purposes. There are other factors we see in many leaders. First, charisma, confidence, being compelling, captivating. Secondly, a lot of leaders are slightly more intelligent, sociable, and extroverted. But these personal traits, what some people like to think that people are born to lead, account for less than 5% of the difference between those who lead and those who follow. Lastly, Jack also knows that you cannot lead without followers. So watch this clip and see if you realize, if you could pick up that that Jack is also aware of this concept.
Who'll join my tribe? I gave you food, and my hunters will protect you from the beast. Who'll join my tribe? I will, Daddy.
I'm Chief, and what about the fire? And I've got the conch.
You haven't got it with you. You left it behind. See? Clever. Anyway, the conch...
As I pointed out earlier, groups have differences in the level of cohesiveness between them. For example, in groups we find with low cohesiveness, we find that members do not like each other very much. They disagree on common goals, are not very satisfied, and are even looking to join other groups, do not have a shared group identity. and do not perform well on task when working together. In other words, these groups are literally falling apart and not much holding them together. On the other hand, groups high in cohesiveness, members do like one another very much. They do agree on common goals, are satisfied and not looking to leave to find a better fit in another group, do have shared identity with the group, and perform tasks well and work well together. In other words, these groups have a sense of solidarity, are like-minded, and have developed a team spirit, and are of one mind, and they cooperate. Let's see if what is happening here on the island.
The beast!
So, relative to groupthink, what are the other elements that we need besides a directive, authoritative leader, and very high cohesiveness? Groups that are isolated and are very stressed. These are the four components that make up the elements that foster groupthink. So let's take a look at this next clip and see how Jack, the leader of this group, is handling these situations and how leadership, cohesiveness, isolation, and a stressful situation come to bear on groupthink in this clip here.
Tomorrow I'll hunt again. Then we'll leave another head for the beast. Some of you will stay and defend the gate. The beast may try and come in. Remember how he crawled? He came disguised. The beast may try and come, even though we gave him the head of our kill to eat. So watch and be careful.
But didn't we...
No. How could we kill it?
He told us the beast was disguised.
Tomorrow, when we get meat, we'll have a feast. Chief, Yes, Bill?
What will we use to light fire?
We'll get fire from the others.
We've got to get out of this.
What do you mean?
Get rescued.
As you can see in this clip, groupthink leads to very poor decision making and very poor outcomes. This is a result of not hearing from many of the members because they are unwilling to propose alternative views and opinions due to these pressures. It is clear that this is where this was headed, and this is after the two other boys have already been killed on the island. Thank you.